These rocky shores where I call home, where my heart longs to be whenever I roam. It's these rocky shores, it's where I long to be. Yes, it's these rocky shores, they're home to me.
Whenever I leave here, it hurts me so, with tears in my eyes. Oh, I hate to go. There ain't no work, and the kids need new clothes. The bills need paying, so I must go.
These rocky shores where I call home, where my heart longs to be whenever I roam. Yes, these rocky shores is where I long to be. Yes, these rocky shores, they're home to me.
I think to myself, where did it all go? The life I once had on the ocean's gentle road. With tears in my eyes and my head in my hands, away from my family, I hope they understand
That is these rocky shores where I call home, it's where my heart longs to be whenever I roam. Yes, these rocky shores where I long to be. Yes, these rocky shores, they're home to me. Yes, these rocky shores, they're home to me.
Good evening and welcome to This Week in Review. Tonight's stories include Premier Tobin visits Burgeo, statistics for Sandbanks Park. This week was Fire Prevention Week. October 6th was nomination day for Burgeo Town Council. These stories plus community events, BBS Playbill, Off the Rack and more coming up after this.
Each year in Canada, hundreds of fires are started by children playing with lighters and matches. Children as young as 18 months can operate a lighter and start fires. The consequences couldn't be more deadly. Keep lighters and matches out of sight and out of reach of children. A message from Health Canada and this broadcaster.
Premier Brian Tobin, Minister of Forestry, Resources and Agri-Foods Kelvin Elward, and other government officials accompanied MHA Bill Ramsey on a visit to Burgeo on Wednesday, September 29th. Premier Tobin met with several committees here in Burgeo and found time to stop by our studios for a short interview with Linda Benoit from the Southwest Times and myself. Today in our studio we have with us Premier Brian Tobin, Bill Ramsey, our MHA for Burgeo-Lapoil, and Linda Benoit with our Burgeo paper. Welcome to our studio.
Great to be here.
It's really nice to be here.
What is the nature of your visit today?
Well, I'm here at the invitation of Bill Ramsey, who's the MHA for Burgeo and for this part of our province. And there are a number of issues that the Community Council and other community groups have wanted to discuss regarding the future of this community, specifically issues involving the future of the fish plant and the attempts that are now being made by the community, by Bill, and by others to reactivate the plant, Secondly, questions about the municipal financing here in Burgeo. And as you know, we've had a number of projects funded this year, I guess 3 different roads projects, and additional questions raised about providing funding to upgrade the road infrastructure to the park, and I think we've put some additional money in place
Yeah, you just approved them.
today. And further questions about the possibility of taking the 2 existing schools, which are old wooden structures, which are in need of renovation, and seeing those 2 structures replaced by a single new school, a combination school and community complex. And we had a very good presentation on that proposal, and we've undertaken to find some additional money now to do some further engineering work, basic engineering work, to look at how such a structure would be built, and to allow some further consultation on what partners might be involved in that kind of operation. So there have been a variety of subjects. It's been, I think, a very productive day.
One.
Most of my questions I have prepared were about the fish plant itself.
Please, go ahead.
Because well, a number of people said to me when they heard I was going to do an interview with you, like, put it right to them at the plant, like, where do we sit, and, you know, what can the province do to help? I mean, there's been committees in the community that have been working hard, you know, with the operator to try to get it open, but, like, what can the province do?
Well, first of all, let me say that I recognize, and this goes back to my days as being Minister of Fisheries and Oceans for Canada and prior to being Premier of the province, that the community of Burgeo is never going to have the kind of future it must have to be a viable community if we don't restore the fish plant operation. And I know that the community has done everything plus that has been asked of the community by Mr. Barry in order to get this plant back into operation. There's a meeting now scheduled for the 17th of October between the council and the appropriate committees representing the interested parties in the community and Mr. Barry about the future of this plant. What I would say to you today is this. I've said to the community that I will take up the cause of bringing this plant back into operation together with Bill as a personal cause on my own part. I've been waiting to and watching to, and I've talked a number of times with Bill Barry about his plans for Burgeo. And I think we all recognize that we've got the tremendous irony of a town that from an infrastructure point of view is better than it's ever been. Roads and water and sewer, most of the work that needs to be done has been done. And new facilities in place in terms of health care. We're planning now for new facilities in terms of education. That is a new school and community center. But we don't have our major area of economic activity revitalized, the plant. So I've spoken, in fact, this morning while we were here, with David Anderson, the Minister of Fisheries and Oceans in Ottawa. I talked to him from the Town Council office. Indeed, I invited the Mayor to speak to David Anderson as well. And I've said to David that it has to be one of the greatest priorities for the province to find a way to supply product to this plant to bring it back into operation. David has undertaken to work with me and Bill on that. In fact, we'll be going to Ottawa together to talk with the Minister of Fisheries and Oceans. Beyond that, we intend to be in touch as well with Mr. Barry. In fact, I would have talked to Mr. Barry today, but there has been a death in his family. His mother's died in the last few days, and he's not available. So all I can say to the people of the community is all of the normal means of making representation by the community have occurred. Best efforts, and I want to acknowledge the best efforts of the community have been made, and Mr. Barry, on behalf of the private sector, I'm sure has made his best effort. At this stage, if we're going to get this plant reactivated, it's going to require some additional effort, and I'm prepared to do my part. Let me just say one thing. There is a test fishery in Argentine which will take place in the next few weeks. That's one of the proposals that's on the table. I don't know whether it's the right one or not, but we're all awaiting the results of that test fishery.
Right, okay. So, like, another thing I'd like to ask is, like, what a kind of time frame? Like, a lot of people, we got a lot of people leaving town, and out-migration is a terrible problem there now. So you're committing to help.
But you know, Linda, I could sit here and make a lot of people who are watching this program feel very good by saying, and by such and such a date, something's going to be done. But I wouldn't be telling the truth.
Exactly.
I mean, it's very easy to say those things. I've been around for 20 years. The most honest thing I can say and the most truthful thing I can say is I've recognized, and one of the messages I wanted to bring to council today, and indeed one of the messages Bill has brought to me, has been to see me in my office in St. John's, is that it's not moving. It isn't happening. Despite everybody's best efforts, nothing is happening to reactivate the plant. And what Bill came to me to say is, Premier, we want you to personally get involved, try and help us to move this plant forward. And really my message today to the community is to say that I'm prepared to do that. I will get personally involved. One of the reasons why I was happy to be able to speak to David Anderson this morning from Burgeo and to be able to tell him about the circumstance here, to explain that Burgeo is at the end of a long one-way road, that there are not other alternatives. You can't easily go down the road and work in another plant or another job, and that if we don't have jobs here, we don't have a viable town. And I must say, he was I thought, pretty positive in his response. You don't expect him to commit over the telephone. He's undertaken to meet with us, to look at Burgeo, given its special characteristics, and we'll see what comes out of it. All I can tell you is I will take this up personally. I know the fish, I think I know the fish business a little bit. I've been there as Minister of Fisheries and Oceans. I certainly know David Anderson. And I've agreed to Bill's request to take this on as a file personally to see whether we can move it. So give us a little time.
That's good. Do you have any other?
No, I didn't. But one pops to mind, what about this new school now? How is that come along, the proposal for that?
Well, it's a very good proposal, very interesting, and I have to give credit to the people of Burgeo for being, I think, real innovators, because what is being looked at here is combining both of the existing older schools into one new facility, but also combining that facility as a multi-purpose building, if you want, a school, perhaps recreational facilities might be part of it. An arena has been talked about, a swimming pool, perhaps a center, offices for other federal or provincial government agencies that might be combined into one large multi-purpose facility. And when you think about a community like Burgeo, this makes a lot of sense and is kind of groundbreaking. So we couldn't commit today that it'll be done. The total early estimated cost is about $8.5 million. Within this current school district, we have 2 new schools already under construction. It's going to take about 1.5 years, 2 years to finish the construction of those 2 buildings. Andy Butt, who's the superintendent of the school board, tells me that after those 2 buildings are finished, the next highest priority when new funds become available for this district is Burgeo. He said that this morning in the presence of the council. And if that's the priority of the school board, it'll be the priority of the government. So what we need to do now is to take this idea of a multi-purpose facility, to test it, to have an engineer give us some drawings to see what kind of space is going to be required.
You committed funds for that this morning?
We've committed funds for that this morning. We'll pay for that. And to bring forward the various partners who would occupy such a building, whether it's the municipal government, the provincial government, the federal government, the school board, and to find out what the cost is going to be of maintaining such a building. And if you can build a true partnership without committing in advance of getting the information, I think it's a very interesting concept. Not only as a solution for Burgeo, but it might well be a solution for many other parts of rural Newfoundland and Labrador, making the school the heart of the community, but also having other facilities attached to it.
Linda, did you have another question?
Just one more question. You talked about the infrastructure we have and stuff. We got a brand new facility or a hospital, right, called the Rocca Center. Can you tell me, is that on good grounds? Like there a couple of years ago, we were afraid of losing what we had and things.
Well, I told you a couple of years ago that those rumors were untrue and that you weren't going to lose it.
Yeah.
And you haven't.
Right.
And I'm still around.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Let me say to both of you, it's been a pleasure to be here, and let me say to the community of the citizens of Burgeo, through your kind invitation to be here, Marie, and I've enjoyed your questions as well, Linda, that this is a unique service. The BBS cable service is quite innovative. It's community-based, community-owned, community-operated, and I'm very impressed with what I see. I want you to know that I've been a little bit nervous sitting talking to you about, but I've survived the experience, and I thank you for being kind and gentle to me, and I hope we'll have a chance to do it again.
Thank you very much.
Premier, and, just to conclude, I want to thank you as well, and thank the Premier on behalf of the people of Burgeo for coming with us and paying personal attention to these concerns. People here have expressed sincere concern over their futures, and You've given us the full commitment of all of the efforts of government to try to assist them, and I know they're very glad of that, and want to know that we're carrying the ball for them.
Some of the most dedicated and genuine people in a province full of genuine people are in Burgeo. And I don't think any of us enjoys the fact that a town with so much to offer is so bereft of its main economic engine, in this case something attached to the fishery. So we will do our best. We'll do our best to try and change that.
Thank you, Premier.
And thank you very much for
You're
your
welcome.
time. Statistics at Sandbanks Provincial Park are up this year compared to last year. Last year there were 801 campers. This year for the same period there were 1,072. Day visits were also up. In 1997 there were 35,931. This year there were 50,278. If these numbers seem to be high, it's because the average of all vehicles that enter the park. For every vehicle that comes, it is multiplied by 4. Park warden stated that visitors were very pleased that the comfort station is completed. It made a big difference to how many visitors raided our park. Sunday, October the 4th to Saturday, October the 10th was Fire Prevention Week. Throughout the week, members of the volunteer fire department held a variety of activities at the fire hall and around town. Mrs. Ann's grade 1 and 2 class enjoyed looking at the fire truck and got a chance to wear the firefighters' clothing.
When we come to the fire station, we all have to wear our fire clothes. We got steel toes on, steel nose in the boots. So that one, okay? It's our fireman coat. Okay? There's our fireman hat that we wear. Okay? Our fireman hat that we wear. We got a shield there. We put our shield down. So like in the fire, like if it goes in your face, you want to damage your eyes, okay?
3 students showed Fire Chief Glenanne how good they could stop, drop, and roll.
Cover your face, okay? Okay, that's what you would do. That's what you would do if your clothes caught fire. You would drop to the ground and you cover your face and you roll over. That way you smother the fire out. Okay? Anybody else want to try? Okay. Okay. All right. Make sure when you drop to the floor, make sure like when you straighten yourself out, that you cover your face. Okay. Okay. Stop. Careful now. Okay. The reason why she rolls over is if there's fire on her back or whatever. Once you roll it over, it'll smother it out. Okay. One more. Okay. Don't drop your wear, you're going to do more damage than the top.
Grade 6 class watched the Fat Fire demonstration. Firefighters treated the class to a snack of French fries and pop. Fire drills were carried out in both schools, the Calder Health Care Centre and the Southwest Seniors Complex. Tuesday, October 6th was nomination day at the Town Hall. 2 people, Harvey Billard and Cyril Warren, were nominated for council. Stay with us for more of This Week in Review coming up in just a moment.
It can happen in mere seconds. It can happen while you're in the house. The thing is, it should never happen. Keep lighters and matches out of sight and out of reach of children. The consequences couldn't be more deadly. A message from Health Canada and this broadcaster.
On Tuesday, September 29th, we took our cameras to the Calder Health Care Centre, where some of the residents held a small reception in the main lobby. Residents treated members of the public. This was to celebrate the designation of 1999 as the International Year of the Older Person. Towards a Society for All Ages has been selected as the theme by the United Nations. This year is being marked to recognize the world's population is aging, and such a change in demographics owes a social, economic, and spiritual significance. Through recognition of this year, the United Nations also helps to foster an international awareness of the importance of seniors' roles in society and the need for intergenerational respect and support. Canada is embracing the year as a nation and views it as an opportunity to emphasize the demographic realities of its population, the contribution of seniors to family members, to the economy, and to society in general. The Burgeo Lions and Lionesses hosted a senior citizens party on Thursday as part of their World Lions Day celebrations. Approximately 80 seniors came out for the meal. The oldest male, George W. Ingram, and the oldest female, Mary Anderson, were asked to cut the cake. President Lion Brad Dumford and Lioness President Judy Fudge presented them with gifts.
On behalf of the Burgeo Lions Club, I would like to present a little gift to Mr. Ingram. Thanks, man. There you go.
Okay, on behalf of the Lions Club, I'd like to present a personal gift, Santa Claus.
Following the supper, the seniors enjoyed a game of cards. Prizes were awarded for first, second, and as well as a booby prize.
Well, first prize goes to James S. Marsden with a total of 700 points. So, Mr. Marsden, you can go up and pick up a check, please. With a score of 660 points. Mrs. Casser, please. And the one that everybody was aiming for, but only one person was fortunate enough to get, was asked to be the oldest senior here tonight, Mr. Ingram.
Fun didn't stop there. The seniors danced till the wee hours of the morning to the music of Clayton's disco. This past week, South Coast Construction began removing the sidewalks around town. Penny Paving is scheduled to begin repaving around town early this week. Many residents will be relieved to see this job completed because of the heavy rains experienced in late September has taken its toll on many of the side roads that are under construction.
Good day. Council held its regular meeting on October the 7th. Some of the items up for discussion at that meeting, I guess the number one thing, we had 2 new councillors to council. They were sworn in, Mr. Cyril Warren and Mr. Harvey Billard. I'm sorry for making people tune in on a very important meeting, or rather a very important message which I was supposed to give you, and everyone thought it was a report on the fish plant. But however, I'm not going to apologize because I accomplished what I set out to do. And I would like to thank Harvey and Cyril for coming forward and offering themselves for council. So that brings our council up to a full strength of 7 members at this time. Election was held for the position of deputy mayor at our meeting on October the 7th. We've been without a deputy mayor since Gord Tucker resigned from council, and Councillor Barbara Barter was successful and is our new deputy mayor. The paving project going on in town, that was delayed and set back a little bit by the heavy rains which we had experienced. However, it seemed as if they're still aiming for a completion date of anywhere from October the 25th to the 30th. A letter or petition was received from some non-tagged citizens of Burgeo. I believe there was 105 names to the petition. And the petition was concerned about the lack of opportunity for people who are not on tags to gain employment. And while the petition identified the problem, it didn't offer any solution to the problem. And Council was very sympathetic to the position and certainly agrees with what the petitioners had to say about not being eligible to apply for certain jobs. But as a council, we don't see a big lot which we can do. I think it all comes about as a result of the moratorium and the tag situation, and I don't think anyone has got the answers to it. I'm sure council doesn't. But in any event, council did agree to write a letter to the provincial government and to the federal government outlining the problem which people who are not tagged recipients are experiencing in gaining employment, and supporting the petition as was put forward by the people. A committee of council was struck at the meeting consisting of Mr. Norman Marsden and Mr. Harvey Billard. And this committee will be looking into the possibilities of developing what has been come to known as our town square. That's the area where the Siemens monument has been erected. Some of the ideas put forward for that square has been that possibly the monument to the Cape Royal, which is in the community cemetery, should be relocated to this area. So Harvey and Norm will be investigating that with the people and with National Sea and the cemetery board and so on, and just sort of see what the wish of the people is. There's been quite a bit of feedback have come to council in which people have expressed that they feel that this monument should be put in a more prominent place in town. So if anyone has got ideas on that, then by all means pass it along to the town council. Another thing has been that we should erect probably a proper memorial to our war dead. This would not be any elaborate thing. It could be just a plain stone, and on one side would be the names of those who died and were in the Air Force. On the other side, you could have the names of those who were in the Army, who died in the who fought and died while enlisted in the Army. Likewise, on the other side, you could have the regular Navy, and on the other side would be the Merchant Navy. Also, we'd like to investigate the possibility of some kind of a spread out in picture form depicting our Burjo's heritage, such as the old room or the Clements area. We could have something there showing the flakes and the schooners and so on. That's the whole idea, is to just set it up and probably improve on the lighting in the area so that it would shine from the bottom up towards the monuments and so on. And not saying that this will all be done in the period of 1 year, but anyway, this committee will be looking into what it is possible to do there, try to put some costing onto it, and try to make this area a real asset to our community. For a while we were tossing around whether some picnic tables should be put there, but I think we've pretty well ruled that out, that that would be just encouraging loitering and garbage and cans and cigarette butts and so on. So for that reason, I think we've ruled that out. But I just give you a touch now as to that we do have plans to develop that area, and any suggestions would certainly be accepted and looked at. So if anyone's got any input to that, they can contact Harvey or Norm or the Town Council office direct. Lately, people may have seen that the garbage dump is again, the gate is being locked again. This gate is not being locked because council don't want people in there rummaging around looking for car parts or whatever, but it's for safety purposes. When that incinerator is in operation, if some kids should ever go in there wandering around and slip and fall down in that incinerator, it would be almost certain death. So that is the reason behind locking the garbage dump. And I guess that's it from council for this week. Well, on September the 30th, we had Premier Tobin, we had Minister Beaton Talk. He's the Minister of Department of Development and Rural Renewal. And we had Mr. Kevin Aylward. He's the Minister of Forestry and Agri-Foods in town. And we held several meetings with them, and I'll try to give an update as best I can now on what happened at each one of these meetings. One of the meetings, the first meeting they met with, the first people they met with was the town council. And the subjects that the council covered was, one was municipal financing. And in that we discussed with the ministers our concerns regarding the reduction in the municipal operating grant. Our grant is down by $26,000 again this year, and we explained to them that with the cutbacks in the grants, the out-migration of our people, the end of tags means there will be less people that will meet the criteria for paying the service fees, and tried to impress upon them that it is time to stop cutting back on the municipalities, as we're having a very difficult job to make ends meet as it is. They were sympathetic to our concerns, and one of the things they were impressed with was the tax collection in Burjo. They feel that there's a pretty good job being done there, and a lot of towns are getting in trouble, but they didn't get into trouble as a result of the downturn in the economy. Apparently that their tax collection was so poor that they were running into difficulty even before there was a turn down in the economy. So we passed our concerns on about that. We also spoke to the Premier regarding new industry incentives and lack of programs for people outside of the tags. And we explained to them, that if Burjo's got to compete with St. John's and Gander and Corner Brook, when it comes to new industry coming in this province, then we don't have a chance. And we cited the case of Samuel Lee and the garment factory. And again, they knew where we were coming from, but they still feel that rural Newfoundland, that it's mainly fishery orientated, and that's it. So I guess we can't expect a big lot from that end. We brought up the fact of the Sandbanks Provincial Park, that the road there was a dirt road and that wasn't doing anything for that. We had pointed out that there was supposed to be some $45,000 to pave a portion of the road, and we had been informed then only a few days before that this money wasn't coming through, and that the crusher would be leaving Burgeo on that same day. With that, the Premier recommitted the $45,000, and now the section of the road going across by the causeway to the top of the hill, and then there's another one of the hills which will be done, and that hill going down to the Sandbanks, that's going to be done. The $45,000 will be coming from government, although it looks now as if it'll be coming, be set up on a debit to the town, and what that means is that the money will come in through the left hand and go out through the right hand each year until the $45,000 is paid off. We also mentioned to the group the need for the senior citizens complex in Burgeo, that it appears as if there's space for more units, and advise them that should the Senior Citizens Committee make an application, they would have the support of the town of Burgeo. Again, there was no commitments, but you know, we got the point across to them for the need for an increase in the number of senior units in Burgeo. Council brought up about the community education recreation complex. Later we had a meeting regarding that solar complex, dealing with that matter only, and as a result of our meeting, the Premier plus the two ministers was fully supportive, and they thought it was unique the way that we are approaching this complex education thing, and they felt it's time that things was done in a different manner. And he was so impressed that he made money available to have what's known as a preliminary concept design done. And that is, there will be a sort of a floor plan done now, and the thing that we've asked for and has been done in writing will now start to take on a picture, so that you can see just what we're talking about in picture form. And that would give us a better idea of what money is going to be required. So that's the next step he asked us to go to, and we've done that. Also, we received a letter back from Roger Grimes, in which he said that his department fully supports the way that we're going about trying to get this school recreation complex thing done. After the meeting with the council, the Premier and his cabinet met with the Burgeo Action Committee to get that's the committee set up to get the fish plant reactivated. We had what I would say was about as good a meeting as we expected. We got about as much information as could have been expected. The Premier did contact David Anderson by phone, and he let me speak personally to Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson advised me that the Premier had filled him in on the Burgeo situation, and he assured me that the federal government and his office would be there for Burgeo in any way that they could be. During the meeting, we talked about such things as crab, shrimp, the local fish that's being caught here and trucked out, the Argentine. We touched on just about every species, I guess, and while there was no commitments on a lot of it, you know, the support was there from the provincial government. And the Premier assured us that he is making the Burgeo file a personal file of his, and he's committed to taking the file on, taking the file under his own wing. He also said that him and Mr. Ramsey will be trying to set up a meeting with Mr. Anderson in Ottawa, and they would go to Ottawa and also put forward the Burgeo case. They feel that the procedure we are following is the right one to reactivate the plant, and that is the getting together of the Action Committee and getting a meeting set up whereby there will be some frank discussion between the operator and the committee. He assured us that he was committed to Burgeo with or without the present operator, and the Premier and the Cabinet felt that if the present operator is not committed to reactivating the plant and doesn't have any firm plans and so on, then it is hoped that he would just opt out and pass the plant over so that someone else could move in and get the job done. And that was about as much as came out of our meeting regarding the fish plant. There's not much else we could do. We have the meeting set up for October the 17th, and we'll be going to Corner Brook. So hopefully there'll be something we can bring back from that meeting. I personally feel that that the commitments from both levels of government is there, and that if the operator has the will to open the plant, it will be open. And I'm afraid that's about all the information that I've got to offer at this time. Thank you very much.
Stay with us for Off the Rack, community events, BBS Playbill, all after this.
Each year in Canada, hundreds of fires are started by young children playing with lighters and matches. Teach your children that lighters and matches are not toys. And keep lighters and matches out of sight and out of reach of children. The consequences couldn't be more deadly. A message from Health Canada and this broadcaster.
Off the Rack. This week, as we scanned our tape racks, we came across a video of some of this year's grade 11 students during their first year of school. How many of these little ones do you recognize? Let's take a look back to April 1988.
One day it began to snow and snow and snow and snow and snow and snow and snow. Soon it became the biggest snowstorm ever. A big snowstorm. And you weren't play very much in a big snowstorm? Just watch what this family does when there's a snowstorm. Has it been, do you think it's been snowy for a long time or a short time?
A long time.
How do you know?
Well, look at all the trees are covered up.
That's right, all the trees are covered with snow. They look like a whole lot of snowmen, don't they?
Yeah.
And there's snow on the roof. Do you think the snow, it's a windy day?
No.
Or is
No.
it, why? How do you know?
Because all the windy.
It's not windy, how do you know it's not?
Because all the trees the snow is just staying where it is.
That's right, and the snow is falling down?
Straight.
Straight. Everybody show me how snow falls down straight when it's not windy. It just trickles down, doesn't it? And when it lands on the ground, does it land noisily or softly? Here.
Because you can move pieces right easy. Sure. And, well,
Oh, must you get hurt? The bunches looked out of their window in amazement.
Good evening, and welcome to the community event segment of tonight's broadcast on Run the Green. The Heart BP TV Bingo held on Wednesday was won by Marge McDonald. Congratulations, Marge. The Lioness will be holding a TV Bingo on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Cards are $1 each or 6 for $5 and can be purchased from any Lioness member or in most stores around town. The Burgeville Volunteer Fire Department will be holding its annual hockey pool again this year. Cash prizes will be awarded at the end of the season for those with the top 3 points per team. Papers can be picked up from Glen Ann. The cost to play is $10 and the deadline to play is October 17th at 6 p.m. Please support the Volunteer Fire Department. Play 1998-99 Hockey Pool. The San Lucie Committee have a fundraising project called the Name and Memory Quilt. For $2, you can have your name or someone else embroidered on the quilt. You will have a chance to win the quilt during the festival. This will make a great keepsake. Please contact any member of the San Lucie Committee if you would like your name added to the quilt. The Anglican Church Vestry will be having a cold plate supper on Monday, October the 12th. Cold plates are $4 to eat in or $3.50 to take out. If your group or organization has an upcoming event planned, we would be happy to advertise it for you. You can contact the BBS office by Wednesday of each week to have items included in this portion of our broadcast. That concludes the community event segment of tonight's program. See you next week. BBS Playbill. Try your luck on Wednesday at 7 p.m. by playing Lioness TV Bingo. Following the bingo, we will have a War Amps video entitled Just the Way I Am. Join Pansy and the gang for 2 stories, a craft, and lots of fun. Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. on Pansy's Garden. And I'll be here in 2 weeks with This Week in Review. At this time, we will resume our regular weekly news broadcast. In case you were wondering, the bandwagon will start around the first week in November. For This Week in Review, I'm Marie Rose. Good night.